Welcome to the world's most prestigious racing series. Final and pass, X-Insurance.
P1 Offshore has brought Class 1 back to the forefront of offshore racing. It's been a class that you dream of being part of, and you watch all the greats, and Azam is, if you will, kind of brought the band back together.
I've always been into Class 1. He's into promoting races, and he wanted to promote the biggest, sort of best class, as it were. Sort of the F1 of offshore powerboat racing. We
reached out to Azam in December, 2 years ago now, and said, hey, this is what we're doing. We're going to go down this journey, and let's, because I'd always had that dream that this gets back on live television and, goes, like I said, worldwide. And he's been amazing to work with, and his staff at P1 have been very, very helpful, to say the least.
So I'm always kind of on the lookout for what's a good team to partner a brand with. And MCon was always a great team to look at that. And I actually spoke to them a few years ago, and I said, guys, hey, I know I don't know you that well, but I was just wondering, are you interested in having any other sponsors on the boat?
After we had told Azam that, hey, we're moving forward with this Class 1 boat, we're super excited, ready to rock and roll. I think about 2 months, maybe 3 months went by, and he had mentioned, would you ever be interested in a sponsor?
During the process, of talking to them about Class 1, I realized that there was an opportunity there.
Azam and Michelle from P1 Offshore were on the Zoom call, and we were going through everything, and they said there's a potential for a very large sponsor that will help offshore in general. Not just MCon, not just Tyler and Lindsay, not just your crew, but offshore.
Yes, obviously I knew they wanted to do it, but actually during discussions with Tyler, it came up of, hey, we might be interested, and it was just good timing.
And I think one of the first words out of their mouths was Monster Energy, and I about fell on the floor, Yeah, unknown, we're sitting there with our Monster Energy and our morning drinks and all that stuff, and it's like, what?
Unreal! That was Isaac Houston has made history. Kurt hung up on
Kurt Busch wins the Daytona.
What did you just say? Because in the motorsports world, I mean, that's your dream. That's, if you could gain a sponsor, Monster Energy is the one. They're all out for that blue collar worker, the blue collar family, and that's their main marketing strategy, and that's who we are. We dig ditches and get in the dirt every day, and so it felt like family, it felt like home, and so here we go, with Monster Energy.
I'm really happy to have helped create this partnership between the team and the sponsor, and obviously with the fact that it's going to be in Class 1 is just the cherry on the top.
It's amazing the amount of interest we're getting, and we're only allowed 12 boats in the class, so once you've got that franchise, it's going to get better and better. Sponsors are going to get involved, people are going to get involved, and hopefully it can really take off.
We're basically building the best competition on the water, and someone is building for that, and not just somebody, but skater powerboats.
I enjoy building race boats because, your mind can get around something new. You try to make improvements every time you build one. We still haven't got the gearboxes. There are dummy gearboxes under there. We don't have those yet. We just got the rocker plates, or the adjustable water pickup, sorry. And yeah, it's difficult getting all the pieces together. Now we got the parts over here in the table, all these little parts.
So Tyler, Skater is renowned for building some of the finest race boats and pleasure boats on the planet. This is your fourth Skater build, so you know the program. Why did you still decide to go with Skater?
Oh, very good question. I think the ideology behind Peter Ledden and the masterpieces he builds, for the most part, outweigh the duration. Double-edged sword there. Yeah, it takes an additional amount of time to complete a skater. They're all handcrafted, as we all know, and it does irritate a guy. We've got deadlines we're trying to meet. We obviously need to do a lot of testing, and so every second matters in a boat build. But then, Skater and Peter and his team is going to tell you the same thing. On their end, they want to make sure they're taking their time to get it perfect.
All these little pieces here and it's all got to be made, machined. Of course, today it's hard to get any supplies really fast. Everybody's so busy. Nobody's got the employees you need. So it really has been tough, but we're working through it.
I'd say at the end of the day, just to know that coming out of the factory, it's going to be a competitive race boat, and the safety aspects behind it lead us to keep going with Skater. We went to Skater Fest for the first time, I believe it was 2 years ago, and you grow up in pleasure boating and even in racing and hear about Skater Fest for many past years.
Hold tight, don't let go. Hold tight, don't let go.
That was a real enjoyable time for us to meet lots of skater owners and just see all the different boats.
Hold tight, don't let go.
In the pleasure boating side, it's been a phenomenal family. Very humble, down to earth, hardworking guys and gals that just wrap themselves in a skater.
The only thing we don't know if we got the light height on the bottom jack. If you don't have this set in exactly the right spot, you could be too high or too low. You don't have the luxury of putting the spacers in the drive like a number 6.
Peter had to talk me off the ledge because Myrick and I put a lot of time and thought into building the Class 1 boat. And we had both felt like Mercury number 6s would be the complete package.
I kind of had wished that the class was totally Mercury, because doing all this you see behind us requires a hell of a lot more work.
I mean, you're putting standardized engines into a racing class where everybody has to run the 1100 Mercury engine, and then once you start working your way to the transom, it's like, why is the rest of this not Mercury product?
The drives come from Italy, bottle jacks Italy. This comes from Latham, the gearbox from Sage. It's difficult because it's just not one package. If it had a number 6 on the boat, boom, it would be gone 4 months ago.
He agreed it needed to be standardized. He agreed it needed to be a number 6 drive on the back of the boat. But then he stood back and he said, but there are so many of these guys that are running surface drives and rudders. You're not going to have the competitive advantage by running a number 6 drive until the class goes in that direction.
For racing, once you got it dialed in, they're fantastic because the turning is so good. You can turn much faster than you could with number 6, but the acceleration is the same, rough water is the same, everything else is the same, but the amount of work is not the same. It's a lot more work and a lot more cost. I wish the guy had made the rules, number 6 drive, 1100, done, finished, done. But I had to do this because these are faster.
You know, Pete was kind of my final voice in my ear, and he said, listen, if you're going to do this and everybody else, for the majority, is going to be running surface drives in a rudder, you have to do the same thing.
One thing that you're always going to get from me is honesty, no matter what.
The connection between Tyler and Peter is, you know, it's fantastic to watch that. So we're really just selling a black box to that group of people to put in their boat, and maybe it's a blue box, but you know, it's a fantastic piece of machinery, and it's going to go in a great boat. There was a lot of discussion whether it was an 1100 or was it a 1350. So, you know, we kind of let the teams kind of figure that out, and either one was fine with us. They elected to go with the 1100, and this engine is very similar to our consumer engine, but then we've done some things to make it a little prettier, I would say.
I think in the background, what Mercury has brought, not only to the pleasure boating world, but to this Class 1 offshore 1100 comp platform, it's amazing. You see the longevity that these guys are getting in race engines, which has never happened. You know, and you just see what it's done as far as the competition. At any given time, it can be anybody's race. You know, we're all on the same playing field. If three guys pick the same prop, you've got the same horsepower, the same torque, and it has taken Class 1 to the top, and it's just going to continue to grow with the Mercury Racing 1100 engine.
One of the great things about Spec Class is everybody's running the same power, but you need to ensure that nobody's manipulated anything on the engine. So the engine has been mechanically sealed by serialized tags that if they open it up, our technicians can see that. We're not in charge of policing the engine, but we report to the people that are policing the engine. So we're just part of the puzzle, and we've enjoyed getting to know Tyler. And I think there couldn't be a better guy, a better team of what we like as far as a self-made man, you know, who's got a passion, and that passion is what really turns me on to our industry. Is like when you get to hang around people with passion, I mean, it's just an exciting experience.
How are you, buddy? Got a job for you. 438's ready to rock and roll. You ready to go get it? It's gonna be ready to go.
I'll bet you 100 it ain't.
I'll take that bet. You're on. You're on.
My name's Craig Antmeyer. Hold on.
The boat will be picked up by our transport guy, Craig Antmeyer, and be delicately brought back to the Lake of the Ozarks Performance Boat Center.
No, seriously, what is this place?
This is heaven.
Well, at first we were just a little boat shop in Camdenton, Missouri. We leased some warehouses, and one thing led to another, and I called Mark and told him my idea, and I think we met that night or the 2 nights afterwards, and I was like, this is what I got. We got employees, we got customers, and we've got a name, we can get going, and we got going. as I got to know people at the lake and figured out who's who. I got to know Myrick Coyle pretty well, and there was an opportunity for him to exit Naughty Marine and come work at Performance. So once you hang out with Myrick, every other story is about a boat race, and big motors and throttles and that kind of thing.
Myrick will head up the rigging on the Class 1 boat. The Mercury Racing engines will be delivered to his facility here in Lake of the Ozarks at Performance Boat Center. And you know, then it's game on for those guys, and God bless them, because it's going to be a lot of sleepless nights to get it done at this point.
Have you ever rigged a Class 1 boat before?
Never. Little nervous.
Here we are, I think, well, it's the first week of April, and you know, Myrick is expecting to be rigging this boat right after the new year. And so if you stop and think about delays and what that leads to, is now your rigging has to be done, you know, on basically a 24/7 time frame.
Are there nerves involved in this? Yes, there are. Making sure we get it right. I mean, a lot of the teams that we're going up against have years and years of racing QC4Vs. Pretty comfortable that we can figure it out, but getting it right off the bat is pretty nerve-wracking.
You can already feel the aura and the tension. There's a lot of chatter about what products we're going to use here and there and how we're going to do this. There's a lot of parts getting ordered. They're cleaning the shop up, getting some of our other projects done, because at the day-to-day, we rig boats. We rig the performance power boats here. We do a lot of stuff with Sensation here as well, and we've got to stay on those deadlines. So we're going to put our best efforts to it, and it'll get done. It always does. It'll just be a lot of late nights. That's what these guys are used to.
In business, I try to never set any of my employees, any of our team members up for failure, and I feel like that's where we're at.
I have never rigged a Class 1 boat before. I have been close due to the fact that we rig a lot of Mercury Racing QC4Vs, which is the same components. We just might build them a little beefier on a Class 1 boat due to the fact that we're going to be very abusive to all the components. I'm kind of used to projects being, you know, pressured right at the end, and I've always said we're the last ones in line, so we kind of get the shaft at times, but you know, we'll deal with it. So the boat, when all the hatches were closed and when it actually showed up, appeared to be done quite a bit. But then you open hatches and there's a lot of components that you don't realize need to go in there. I mean, you could start from the back of the boat, from the rudder indicator to the hydraulic lines that run to each individual steering cylinder, to the the fittings that go into the trim cylinder. Out of the trim cylinder, you go into hose and fittings, to hoses, to trim pumps, to the wires that run to the trim pumps.
Trim pumps are in. We have, our tubes are all good. We have Teague water pickups on. Holes are drilled for the SCX boxes. We put a slight rocker plate that allows a water trough to go to the water pickups as well. This is Skater's tunnel tab. As you can see, it needs some fluid. But that's a little stuff. We have trim pumps mounted in. I can take you up here if you'd like. All our electrical, big battery wires, oil lines, most of our power steering is in. Water system to the sea strainers plumbed in right now. Have to go the rest of the way to the water pump of the engine. Trying to think what else. We're cutting, Ross is cutting holes for tractor pipes right now.
The exhaust had to go up through the hatches, tractor pipe style. And yeah, pretty much anywhere they need help is what I'm here for.
Skater has had Ross here for going on a week and a half now, trying to help out.
Yeah, they just shipped me with the boat.
So he's seen it all. So people in our profession are kind of hard to come by. You know, you don't just pick him up off the street. He comes in, knows what he's doing. You know, he kind of says, hey, where are we at? What do you need? I throw him in a direction, and he's doing, you know, stuff like this, which, I mean, is incredible.
Sometimes you just need bodies, and other times you need something that you can just give a guy a task and don't have to worry, he'll take care of it. And when you're on this tight a time frame, that's a big necessity.
So what we got going on in here, just starting at the top, we got a 9-inch vessel view. It's on a hinge on top of the roll bar there in the front, which is a little hard to see right now with the covers on. We have two 17-inch Garmins to help display all the data. So all the engine data will run through the vessel view and the 17-inch Garmins. We have the flooring done by High Tech Auto Trim here locally. They come out, scan the floor, lay in marine mat for us. They do a great job. They have more to put in. I kind of just had them put the base stuff in right now. That way we can get seats and things like that we have to get mounted and done. But it'll be covered head to toe in SeaDek, just the way, you know, Tyler likes it. The wrap's going on today. We are working around the wrapping people. They're gonna come do the canopy. Got some cleaning to do, but do the canopy, and then we have the sides are gonna lay down today is what I was told. So we're kind of trying to work hand in hand. We'll see how it goes. Do what we can for them and vice versa. Well, at least with us around, we can do things and take off components where they may not have normally taken off, just because they may not feel comfortable taking a hinge or a latch or something like that off, instead wrapping it around. So we're able to take that off. So we'll have a good quality wrap, I'm pretty confident.
The end of the day, tomorrow, pulling the engines back out and then getting all of the parts that need to be done while the engines are out, like running lines on the engines and things like that.
Then it's gone, you ain't know it's a vapor. Gotta travel, carry on, bring your people to make us. See the world cast pearls quick, trying to be famous. Be the quiet in the room, people know when you're dangerous. Big in the stool, that never assuming. Hair in the room is keeping it moving. Trying to critique by saying you're losing. Wanna bring up the past till them business is booming. That day won't define me, knowing where to find me. Wrapped in the wings of the mighty. So many us wanna try me. Seeing what I got is a look and a blood kind of timely. I'm
Dave keeps saying, so we're putting this in for final, right? And I'm like, no. I mean, you always want to do that. You always want to be like, is this the last time we're putting it in? Because first time we put it in to see if it fits. Second time we put it in to clearance it. Third time we pulled it out to powder coat it. Fourth time you put it back in to make sure that your powder coat didn't fill up any holes tomorrow. And the fifth time might be final to where you're actually putting the silicone on it and or whatever adhesive that you have holding it on there in for the final application. So it's funny when somebody goes, is this final? And you're like, yeah, I wish this was the last time I was doing it, but it's not. So
I just wonder if you have a single engine QC4V, if it's only used as 1-in-1.
It does.
Yeah, so that's what's...
Yeah.
So
it's
one throttle,
engine,
one shift, no matter what.
Yep.
But I need a one... Okay, because one controls starboard engine, one control... I get it.
We're trying to throw this thing together in about 20 days, you know, and also make it the nicest Class 1 out there. It takes a lot of monsters, I guess. Usually about 4 a day or so.
The biggest issue that we have, other than lack of time, is gearboxes.
We got them in. Went to kind of check them, so I threw some gears in them because they have quick change gears, so they come with multiple sets of gears. Slid those gears in, rotated the boxes over, and they're actually going in the wrong direction. So somewhere along the lines that got miscommunicated to what we need. So at that point we said, okay, you know, we'll just run it the wrong direction. But we also noticed how the gear lube would drain back into the sump of the gearbox. The holes would have now been drilled at the top. So that would allow no oil to get through the system, deeming very expensive boxes, you know, basically trash and matter of 15, 20 minutes.
So at that point, the guys got all of the 4 gearboxes mounted on a pallet, and Craig came and picked them up and drove them right back. And so now we're almost at 2 weeks and we're waiting on the gearboxes.
We're hoping to have them into next week, or into this week, sorry. Be able to be bolting those on, hopefully Monday would be my goal.
Next Thursday, the boat should be in Cocoa, ready to go to the water for a possible test on Friday. So you got to think that we want to test it next week, and it's literally got a day and a half, 2 days of driving. So we're down to 4 or 5 days.
You know, it was kind of a shot to take to not have the right gearboxes. You know, it kind of like slows you down as a team. You're like, man, we just want the right stuff. But we pushed through. We didn't actually stop a bit. We kept going. We relied on Craig at SCS. He got a quick turnaround to us, probably record time for him, I'm guessing, to get us the right stuff. But he took good care of us. We had Craig run them up overnight, drop them off, and then about a week turnaround, he had them done, and he personally delivered them back to us, the owner. So we were grateful for him and all his work he put in. You know, after those go on, there's a tremendous amount of work because you have the in-between drive line between the SCS and the actual engine itself, and then you have to make drive shafts, drive shaft covers, things like that. So it all runs downhill to where you get one part on, you have to make other parts. So, and you can't, you know, do them out of order, things like that. So we knew no matter what, boat had to leave Thursday morning. So we knew we were falling short of our goal if we did not get the boat in the water today.
No matter how it seems, the horizon is never as infinite as it makes itself out to be. What a lofty goal, to trail out towards the end. One could drown in all that water, or have the heat sucked from their skin and bones, until it has reached the core.
Eric, how you feeling about running it today?
I don't know, nervous.
Pushed through and got a lot of stuff final, which I was very pleased with as far as, you know, what the cockpit looks like. Drive shaft covers look awesome, thanks to Greg. A million guys helped us, but now we're here, got the boat in the water. I'm not saying it's set up or we don't know weight, fuel, you know, propellers, gear ratios. There's a lot to learn about the boat. The biggest thing, let's just try to get this thing to Cocoa Beach, you know, make the green flag, see a checkered flag, you know, finish the race, and you know, learn. It's all about learning every minute in the boat. Try to just learn a little bit more, and then that's what gets you to World Championships and National Championships, things like that, just time.